Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Marcela. I am so excited to be back for another week. Excited for a cycle breaker spotlight today. That's going to be amazing. But
Yeah.
before we introduce her, tell us what you have coming up this weekend.
Yes. So, to the cycle breakers listening right now, if you've been trying to make gentle parenting work, and then you think like, okay, how do I still be gentle? How and correct behavior without using the punishment tools that maybe I used when I did traditional parenting, throwing the chancla or timeout or taking things away. Is there even a way to discipline my kids without using all that? The answer is yes and yes. Yes, you can correct behavior, discipline your children, and yes, there is a way to do it without hurting them. Because basically, spanking, throwing the chancla, taking their beloved things away, all those things really hurt our kids. And we don't want that. We want our children to feel confident, comfortable, and empowered to behave better, right? Not resentful and fearful. So, how do you learn to correct behavior without using punishment? Well, I have my free masterclass. It's called The Three Secrets. I'm going to give you three secrets to parenting without punishment, without giving in, through parenting with understanding. So you correct behavior effectively without hurting your kids' confidence. You will be able to give your children what they need so they behave better in the future. If you want to register, how I said, it is a free masterclass. You could either open the description of this podcast episode and then you see the registration link there, or you can go to the link in my bio at High Impact Club on Instagram, on TikTok, and you can register there. This week, we have an interview with Kimberly. She's a member of the Parenting with Understanding program since November. She has the Consider Conversation Formula ebook, the Tantrums Workshop, and I feel so happy to see her progress all the way from when she started after she applied Parenting with Understanding. Hi, Kimberly.
Hello.
We're so happy that you're here. I am so excited to just kind of hear what you feel has been the biggest change from before. Maybe let's talk about that first. Talk about what parenting looked like before you joined Parenting with Understanding, before you got any of the High Impact Club products. I'd love to hear kind of what that looked like for you.
Of course. So I grew up in a traditional Mexican household. And so chancla was the deal. And we grew up with the eye. So if you got the eyebrow, you knew there was something coming when you got home, those kind of things. And so I grew up knowing that if I raised my voice, I could get my kids to do what I wanted immediately, And so that was my method, is that if they weren't complying, basically, then it's like, okay, no, here we go. And I would start yelling. And I got to the point where there was this one time where I was with my oldest daughter, who was 5 at the point, and she was always having fun. And then we would go into a transition. She would be so upset. And so I would just start yelling because I don't deal with emotions. She's like, I don't know. And it made me realize she literally has no idea. I'm asking her these questions that she doesn't understand. And it made me stop to say, she's scared. My own daughter is scared, and I'm doing this on purpose just for what? So she'll listen. I let everybody else control me, and Parenting with Understanding has now brought me to a place where my daughter will come to me and tell me, hey, earlier you mentioned this. Did you mean that? Because I feel like, or hey, I really didn't like the way you talked to me. And she's 8. And it's not that she's telling me, talk to me better, and she has sass. It's the fact that she's saying, hey, I was kind of scared earlier when you said this. Can you explain yourself, or do you want to talk me through it? So I love the fact that she's able to come to me whenever she feels offended. She's able to come to me and explain herself. And not that she uses the right words all the time, but she's able to open up the conversation of an 8-year-old saying, hey, can you see me?
Yeah. And you're able also, it sounds like, to respond to her from a place of understanding that her behavior is communicating something much deeper than just what you can see on the surface.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that you let us all know that parenting with understanding is not about being right. It's not about being perfect. It's about our children gaining the skills they need to speak up when we are not doing the right things, and for us to have the understanding of how to help them with their needs and to be open to listen to them.
So parents ask us all the time, how does parenting with understanding affect children in school? And you're part of the advanced mentorship program as well. And in advance, you had brought up a scenario with your oldest, who's now a preteen, and a situation that she was dealing with at school. Are you willing to kind of share a little bit about that with our listeners and tell them how parenting with understanding helped both you and your daughter in that scenario?
Yeah, absolutely. So my daughter had been during COVID, she was able to stay at home and she didn't feel safe enough to go back. And so during that time, when she came back to school, she had lost a lot of her friends. And so making friends, she ended up completely isolating herself. She ended up not having the right group of friends, things like that. And so she ended up encountering some bullies, and she was able to come to me and explain to me the things that were going on, the names that they were calling her. She felt like I was going to be able to address the situation and help her instead of shaming her or feeling like she wasn't valid in her opinion or in her emotions. And so because of her awareness and her ability to tell me these things, we were able to go to her teacher, which led to us going to the principal. And after a lot of feedback at the advanced mentorship, we were able to sit down and have a meeting about bullying and start a process with her as to what she can do to feel safer. And it's completely changed everything. She ended the school year on a great note and actually trying to invite that bully into our home and accepting her as a friend. So it was incredible. Everything completely turned around.
I love that so, so much, especially the part about recognizing that the bully's actions, like she had the emotional maturity to recognize this person is hurting me, but there's an underlying reason as to why. And I want to open my heart and my home up to this person and befriend them. That's so incredible for her to do at such a young age. And God, it's incredible. That's amazing.
And that lets me know as well that parenting with understanding keeps children safer than traditional parenting. And this is why when people tell me, I just have to make my kids tough, and that's how they're going to stay safe in the world by being tough, this is what's happening. They end up fearing you, not trusting you. And when they have real challenges in the world, such as bullying, they don't feel comfortable to come to you because they're scared of your punishments, and they're scared of your yelling, and they're scared of all the things that you do to make them tough, quote unquote. She had the trust to come to her mom, and she has the adults on board, because many times the adults in schools and other adults that don't care about our kids as much as we do, they might not do the best job. Kimberly was telling us that the teacher was kind of like brushing it under the rug, not paying attention to her daughter's complaints or cry for help. So what saved her was the relationship that this girl had with Kimberly.
Now, you do have a younger daughter as well. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. She's 6. Okay. So tell us about the 6-year-old and what you've seen with parenting with understanding with that age.
with her, the biggest change has been with losing. So she has a really hard time with games and she wants to be right all the time. And so when she's playing a game, she would immediately enter that rage where she's kicking and screaming and hitting and just like trying to release all of that, to where we literally had a moment this past weekend where she and her older sister were playing Uno, and older sister was kind of bending the rules a little bit. And she said, I'm so frustrated. I need to take a break. Can we play later?
Oh my goodness.
6-year-old that was able to understand what her emotion was in the moment, understand that she needed to walk away, and respectfully tell her sister, hey, this is something I need to do. I'm going to do this. Is that okay? You know, like not necessarily asking for permission, but just like, this is happening.
I love that you see emotional maturity in both of their ages and stages, more so than you would typically see in other children. And the reason for that is typically because those in traditional parenting, we aren't taught to solve our problems with emotional regulation, with self-control, with effective communication. We're only taught to solve our problems with aggression and control or fear or manipulation, right? And I love that you have seen the changes. And just to give the listeners an idea as well, you have only been a member of Parenting with Understanding, a student of Parenting with Understanding since November of 2021. So it's been almost 8 months now, and you've seen massive changes, probably even sooner than this. How long do you think it took you after starting to apply the tools to really start seeing changes?
Within weeks. Like it seriously did not take a long time at all to realize that this stuff actually works. It really is something that you can take and implement.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so encouraging for people that are listening to this and they feel maybe our listeners feel like they're in a place and they're struggling with gentle parenting. They're struggling to make it work, quote unquote. Like, what would your encouragement be to the listener that's struggling?
Oh, I would just encourage them to keep going, because this is basically just teaching us how to treat everybody like a human, which is exactly what this world needs. We need to raise a generation of children who are self-aware, who can protect themselves inside of an environment that is safe and that they can feel secure in. I feel like that would take a lot of these things that we're suffering through in the world, and it would give us a space to be able to speak to it and bring healing where it needs to be.
Kimberly, and to the parents, the cycle breakers who are on the fence and thinking, I don't know if the Parenting with Understanding program will help my family. What would you tell those parents from being a student of the program?
I would say it is 100% worth the investment, because it is going to help you build a relationship with your child that will help them feel safe, secure, and want to be with you, versus what I was doing, which was leading my kids further and further away, hoping that they would leave soon. You know, they're excited to leave and now they just want to be with me and they feel safe. And that brings the relationship so much closer, and it's incredible.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think about my own experience. I have a very good relationship with my mom now, but it wasn't until I got into my late teens, early 20s, and was out of the home, and she saw me making better choices than she had ever made in her past, that I realized, or she realized that, oh, okay, I can treat you like a human now, you know? And that's really when our whole relationship shifted. And so I just think about when we give that to our children, no matter what age they are, if you have preteens and teens, or if you have infants, if you have toddlers, if you have preschoolers, grade schoolers, whatever it is, no matter where you're at on this journey, it's never too late to jump into Parenting with Understanding and to give your children that understanding. I still, as a 39-year-old woman, want understanding from my parents. You know, I still want them to treat me with that respect and love and understanding. And they do. For the most part, I do get that. And when I don't, I feel like we can now talk through those things. But it's because we've talked through a lot of what we teach in Parenting with Understanding, and they now wish they would have known about it, you know?
Okay, so imagine that this week is the week that you change your parenting forever. Yes, it is possible. It is possible. But sometimes things don't come just, you have to take the first step. And the first step is right now. Right now, I have an opportunity for you to register for my free masterclass. Over there, I promise you that I'm going to over deliver for you. And you're going to leave with the 3 secrets to parenting without punishment, without giving in. Open the description of this podcast episode and register for the masterclass. If you like this podcast episode, please leave us a review. Let us know how it helped you. Share it with a friend. And if you are a member of the HIC parenting community, meaning you have any of our products or programs in HIC parenting, request to join our private Facebook group. It is a group full of parents who are in their journey of parenting their kids with more understanding than what they had before. So all you have to do is look for us on Facebook, HIC Cycle Breakers private Facebook group, and request to join.
Next week, we're going to be talking about overcoming burnout in the summer as a parent. So you're not going to want to miss that episode. And don't forget, it only takes understanding to break your cycle. See you next week. Bye.